Have you ever seen a wedding that big without any lights?
Oh my gosh, no one knows.
Country wedding.
All right, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. And who's doing our roll call today?
I would do that. Start with Held,
Here.
Gribbins, Ripperger,
Here.
Brian. Here. Parrot. Gomer. Oh, Rob, Keller.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is that everybody? May 21st, meeting agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
New proof.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Any opposed? Approval of the April 16th meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Doesn't look like we have any public comment or old business. First order of business, consider a recommendation on public right-of-way lease with a concession stand located at 201 North Buxton Street. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at this?
You want me to kind of give some background?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. So concession stand, new restaurant that opened up where the old Panero's Deli was at 201 North Buxton. They're looking at adding an outdoor patio space similar to what Brick House has in the two parking spots that would be just to the west of the entrance that comes in on the south side of the property there, so along Ashland Avenue. The parking spots that would be affected are directly adjacent to the building and the restaurant use, so not in front of any other businesses. We've taken a look at that. And the design and everything that they're looking at doing is almost a mirror of what the Brick House has with the metal style railings and all of that stuff and seating and all of it. So yeah, from the conversations we've had with him, it just sounds like it will be pretty much exactly what Brick House has, just over on Ashland instead, so. I think we will put a lease together kind of similar to what we have with Brick House. I know. Mandy, you can speak on some of this too. The current lease that we have with Brick House was 5 years, I think, last year.
Yep.
We did it for, so we'll look at maybe something similar to that, but similar restrictions on it has to be removed during the winter and all of that stuff, I think is what we would put in there.
The businesses right around there say.
We haven't talked to any of them at all, so I'm not aware. I know the one business just north of there, I believe, that's I can't even think about Willow Moon. That would be the only one I think that'd be affected, and then there's a few dental medical buildings, businesses and stuff.
That's not the only business that would be affected, not by a long shot. Ashland has lost over 50% of our parking on the square. This is a very sore spot with me. The area directly behind our business could have been turned into a parking spot, and the city decided not to do that. I think that was a foolish move. That would have gone a long ways towards alleviating some of the pain that the businesses on Ashland have. So taking 2 more parking spots away is, I think every single business on Ashland should have to approve that. Groggy Dog will not.
And when I was talking about impact, I guess directly impacted just by adjacency, so apologize, and that was.
Yesterday, I left at 3 o'clock. Both sides of Ashland, almost all the way down to Overton, were packed. Cars all the way down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In front of the Groggy Dog on Ashland on the square, it's almost constantly full.
Of what kind
City
of traffic?
vehicles, county vehicles, occasionally a state vehicle. Every single day, I have customers come in and say, we wanted to come here yesterday or the day before, but we couldn't find parking. Now we're gonna take away 2 more spots. Also, have a lot of customers come in. The wife or the husband will come in, whoever's less mobile will come in, have a seat, and 10 minutes later, their spouse will come in because it took them that long to find a parking spot. I disagree with giving up 2 more spots. And I really wish the county would do something, possibly let customers park in their parking lot behind the courthouse after hours or on weekends when the courthouse is closed. I will talk to the sheriff candidates about that, because my understanding is the sheriff is the one who's putting the axe on that, and I think that's ridiculous, because his cars and his employees park in front of my business every day. Okay, I'm done.
Sometimes I get that feeling like I shouldn't be, when I go to work at Fusion Fitness and I park in front of somebody's business and I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of here so I can keep this open for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not everybody thinks like that.
There is a certain amount of guilt that you feel as a
I wanna make,
member.
I want the businesses to have easy access, and there's that dog groomer there, and there's people always in and out, so I always feel like, I should leave the spot for them, but.
It's too, you know, and I understand everything you're saying. And at the same time, you think patios are good for our downtown.
For one business.
I
That
think,
particular patio will be good for one business.
I think.
Yeah, I disagree with that, Marvin.
How is it gonna be good for any other business?
Okay, I come to this meeting and I have 3 hats. I have 3 hats that I wear to this meeting, and I thought about this a lot last night. First, I come as a business owner, and honestly, I try to put that aside as much as I can. Even though I get a lot of backlash outside of this room because of those green lights. And so I come to represent the whole downtown district. And we've traveled around, we went to Oskaloosa and we looked at their downtown district. They're doing this Main Street, Iowa thing. Eli came to me about the brick house or about the patio, and him and I have had a conversation outside of here about it. So on this commission, how are we supposed to be? Are we supposed to represent the entire downtown, which I do believe distinct different patios are driving traffic down there. I truly believe if we build it, they will come. They're gonna make the loop around the square because of what our neighbors have done. And we're all gonna thrive off of that. When we choose to be in a district like we are as business owners, we have to have this collaborative thinking of what our neighbors are doing, and will the parking be impacted? Yes, it's 2 spots. And I've thought about Eli's situation in particular. The smoker is a problem. One, visually, I think the smoker is a problem, and it's taken up some parking spots. I would much rather see him give up that smoker and find a different place to put it, maybe even like have some area in the back, or I don't know what we could do differently with that. But I think the visual appearance of him putting a patio in, it would be another draw. I mean, I call the Brick House patio the greatest marketing scheme alive. The $320 I pay a month for those 2 spots is pure marketing. People talk about the Brick House patio. People talk about the Brick House patio in Ankeny, and they come down, and I just have to believe that they come down and they aren't just a dart. They aren't just going there. They're making their loop. Their kids are going to get ice cream at Corner Sundry. The coffee shops benefit from our patio in the morning. I drive by at 8:30 most mornings, and there are people from Uncommon Ground sitting on that patio. We are an interlocked community down there, and we have to think of it like that. Like I said, my biggest concern with Eli, he's brought something great to town. He saw a void, he didn't bring another pizza restaurant, he didn't bring, another pub. He saw a need, he brought barbecue, and he brought it downtown. And we have to support him. We have to support him so he stays.
And my first thought was kind of like that too, thinking that parking lot would be a perfect place for a patio to redo where the smoker is in that
Yeah.
area, so it's not on the street.
Yeah.
But I have no idea how that works with.
I think you're missing my point, okay?
Mhm.
We're taking 2 parking spots in a very low. Ashland has a very low amount of parking. Brick House does not. You have a large parking spot right behind you,
Mhm.
okay? So from that public parking spot on Ashland to the center of Ashland is over 500 feet. That's over 500 feet.
But you have to understand
Now you're taking away 2 parking spots that could alleviate, this is only benefiting one business.
Marvin, I've lived through, how long has our parking lot behind the brick house been closed?
Last August.
And how many spots are in that lot?
35.
Something.
I looked at it this morning.
I can tell
45
you,
said.
I can tell you the loss of those spots has not affected our business one bit.
Okay, well, we've lost over half of our parking. Have you lost over half of your parking on Buxton?
No, but behind us I have.
Okay. We don't have a behind us.
We don't either right now. I just think that
We
people.
never have it
come.
behind us.
People come whether we have parking spots or not.
Okay, well, my point is, I think it should go before every business on Ashland, every business that will be impacted by losing those two spots. I think every business should be notified and get their opinion. And no disrespect, but not all of the comments about the brick house patio have been positive.
No. No. No, and it was a fight to get it. I mean, that's why I said it sucks coming to this meeting because you sit here, you're like, I'm a business owner and you know, I sit there and I talk to Eli about it and in the back of my head, I'm like, you think about it. Is it what's best for everybody? I don't know, but I've operated businesses in other
I
towns.
think losing
And
two
people
parking spots
talk about,
for everybody.
I think the parking thing is blown out of proportion, and I'm sorry, that's just me. Because I have operated my business with the loss of 45 parking spots behind me. I've operated it 6 months.
We lose ours forever. We've lost over half of our parking forever.
Have you marketed your people, like, have you identified places that they could park that would be a short walk? Because
Tell me where that would be. Where would the short walk be?
I mean, we have the maps, we have the public parking spots. I
There
mean,
isn't a short walk.
I don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
Monday, you know why we closed on Mondays? Because the courthouse is packed on Monday and there is nothing on Ashland. That's why we closed on Monday.
So the question I would have is, like, we're talking about 2 more parking spots. He's already got 2 for the barbecue and he wants 2 more. So then I would go to, you mentioned a whole bunch of people from the city parking in those. Why can't we designate a city parking spot for the employees that are at the courthourthouse every day so that they don't park on
You're talking county.
county? Okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
no,
I'm just curious. Can we, if it's a parking spot, can we make some of those people in the courthouse not park?
The county, we've had a lot of conversations with the county in the past when it's come to parking. They've initiated some programs internally about, they have a wellness program where they give away wellness bucks and trying to encourage people to park further away and give them an opportunity to gather more wellness bucks. Jump in here and if anything stands out to you as well too, but I think from the county standpoint, they felt that they were not able to necessarily dictate exactly where their employees can park. And, you know, these are all public parking spaces, they're publicly owned, so their employees are able to park there just like anybody else is too. But at the same time, they have done incentive programs to encourage their employees to park in some of the back parking lots, to park over at the administration building and walk a little bit further. I don't know how much that's helped, but I know they've done that.
And I know some of the employees in that building are state employees too.
Yeah.
So the county doesn't have influence over those states.
So they just get to park right on the street every time, no designated, no anything. They just get to take, and they take the spots before the business is open.
We've had long talks about encouraging and putting in employee policies and all that type of thing. We are working with the county on several different initiatives. Parking is one of those things. As we plan our new city hall, we're trying to plan more parking and board. Charlie and I've had discussions about the north side and how we could alleviate parking concerns there. I can't speak for the past and decisions that were made that didn't put that parking lot in, but we're trying to come up with solutions to try to make that a better thing for the businesses on Ashland.
So what happened to the time limits? I know there was something about can't mark the tires, which is, I believe that's 4 states in the whole country that say you can't do that.
It's
Supreme Court
a
decision for that district.
Supreme Court ruling that you can't mark the tires. It's a Supreme Court.
Yeah, no, not the federal Supreme Court. It was for 4 states, District 6, 4 states. Des Moines still marks tires.
Yeah, I don't know about.
I don't know. All I know is that we've looked significantly at, of course, we put the parking up, Peak Perdius, you know, this is for business patron parking only and all that type of thing. If you put the 3-hour thing up, we have almost as much of a negative effect the other direction.
The other direction meaning the employees.
No, the patrons, because
They don't
how do you enforce that? And how do you start ticketing that? And then you put meters up. And does that make it so people don't want to come to the square? And the more we talk about parking in the square, the more it scares people away from the square. And I know we've done inventories, and in fact, Steve Richardson did an inventory every day for an entire month. And every single day illustrating the number of parking spaces on the square itself. Ashland's the most impacted of all the streets because of the more limited parking, because of the access to the Justice Center and the fact that there's not a parking lot to your rear. And so we're very sensitive to that. But as far as a city perspective, all we can do is what we can control, and what we can control is our plans for our city hall going forward. And encouraging the county and city and the state employees all to be respectful of businesses. And the more we combat them, the more we have people bowing their backs. The more we're friendly to them, the more they're in place to do it. I know Kathy over at Page Turner's had someone parking in front of her, said attorney, all the time. And she finally made him a plate of brownies and walked out and said, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but this parking space turns over, you know, upwards of 30 times a day. And that really does affect my business. But, you know, here's a plate of brownies. And he go, I just didn't realize I was having that effect. I'm so sorry, but thank you. And he changed his behavior. Kindness, I think, wins out if we can be respectful as a community, but that's hard to.
But when we talk about, well, it's the state and the city and these other employees that won't park off the square. That to me seems like the problem. They're coming in and parking their car for 8 hours, so park off the square.
But you do recognize, yes, everybody's a taxpayer, everybody can park wherever they want. And those are often your patrons, you know what I mean? And so when you are combative to those who are buying their lunch on a weekday, you know, those are the people who are coming out and patronizing the businesses as well. And so they are both a county and city and state employee. I don't see it as county or city at all, because all of our parking is closer to City Hall. But they are also your tax base too. So it's just teaching correct principles and trying to help people until we can make fiscal changes like putting in parking lots.
It's a balancing act, and I mean, unpopular opinion, but I can't imagine the economic vitality of our downtown area without having some of that traffic. People buy coffee, they buy lunch, they grab a card, they do stimulate that downtown business. Now, the fact that they take a parking spot for 8 hours, that's not acceptable. They need to be more mindful of that, you know, we put the business patron signs up and wish people paid more attention to that, but without police enforcement, they're not gonna move. But I don't wanna imagine our downtown area, I don't wanna imagine that impact the people that go to court, they go have lunch after, they do those things. So chasing them away, and I don't know.
And there's a way as a downtown, if we can develop a better relationship with people who work within that building. So it's, you know, whether it's, hey, we're gonna provide lunch one day and a meet and greet with the business owners. So they can get to know our faces and have these conversations. And it doesn't even have to be directed, we're gonna talk to you about parking, but just getting those relationships going with them. So the better those relationships are, the more they're going to be respectful of us and our businesses.
And I think elections do matter. I think you're approached by talking to the sheriffs, but not just the sheriffs, the supervisors and county attorneys and judges and all that type of thing, all the way through, are important. And the fact that those parking lots do sit empty at night has caused concern. And I understand that they want to do it for security purposes and all that type of thing, but I don't see the causality that would require that they have the security. I haven't seen actions taken by anyone that would create them a fearful situation. And so I think bringing issues up, especially during an election time, are very important, and maybe we can get those parking lots open.
What's interesting is we toured with the Main Street people. That was a reaction that they had to the fence and the gates up. Is that staying? Because in their minds, it felt very divisive. It's not the right word.
Yeah. It just seems difficult that we would give up 2 more parking spots when there's not a solution for a better more parking.
So if I submit a request to take 2 parking spots, is that gonna be approved also?
It'd be reviewed the same way we're doing this one, right?
Is there a limit? What if every business?
That's the thing is, no, we don't, and there's nothing codified in our code that says we can only give up this many parking spaces. So yeah, no, if everybody does it, I mean, at that point, I think we need to start having more of a conversation on it, but it's been handled on a case by case basis since I've been here.
The procedure for this is that we review it, make a recommendation to the council.
Yep.
So. I mean, and this is my opinion. I think, one or the other. I think he needs to weigh where he has a smoker or the patio.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that the patio needs to go where the smoker is, but taking those 2-ish spots, I think is a bit of an issue. And I mean, even for his own business, and sure he's thought about that, but yeah. That's
Doesn't
my,
have the smokers there, where's he gonna put them?
that's up to him. I mean,
Well, I mean, that's his business.
right, but
Smoking.
that's not just his only business. I mean, he has off-site places. I don't know, is it an option to, there's that whole back area. I don't know.
Alley.
I don't wanna see the guy go out of business over this, but at the same time, I think all the businesses, like I said several times, I think all the businesses on Ashland be notified and get their opinion.
I think that's a dangerous precedent.
Pardon?
I think that's a dangerous precedent. If we do that for this decision, I think then we're gonna wind up with a precedent of that, having to do that for other decisions. That people will expect, well, before you make a decision on our block, you need to come forward.
Right.
It does get a little frustrating. Some of the stronger opinions about things, they aren't in these rooms, they aren't on these boards. So it comes down to a point where how much can we fight their battles when they're not in these rooms and they're not volunteering for these boards? At what point do we just have to look at it as isolated and what's best for the concession stand and how can we support him the most?
I agree with the precedent issue as well, because we do want to be a warm and welcoming, friendly community, and it's hard when you put a new business through a gauntlet. I say that with all due respect to the fact that I recognize there is parking issues on Ashland, and however you move forward is how you move forward, but precedence is always a concern.
But it'll still go to the city council and that is public knowledge.
Oh, sure, so is this meeting.
Yeah, this one. That's my recommendation. My recommendation is he tries to find a solution to relocate the smoker, or I don't know. I don't know how feasible that is.
Yeah, and I can just tell you, cause it's been talked about internally, I mean, from a fire code perspective, I know that the location of the smoker is fine. That building and that property, it's a downtown environment, it poses a lot of challenges because there's just not any open space that you can relocate a smoker to be quite honest.
Yeah,
You've got a public parking lot, you've got a public alley that's just to the west of there. That parking lot that they own is a private parking lot, it's located in a private parking lot. But that property, really the only open space it has to locate anything like that on is in the parking lot, so. I can just tell you, I mean, unless.
yeah.
I mean, I've smoked meat before, so I know the process to it. I don't have a restaurant that involves a smoker. I don't know how viable a solution it would be to put the smoker offsite.
Well,
And transfer the food in and out.
you and I sat and watched
Yeah,
him
yeah,
last Friday,
yeah.
and I mean, he's pulling things off the smoker, so that.
I would say, I'd have to imagine that's not a viable solution, but I
No.
just don't know for sure, so.
Sure, that's a lure to the restaurant too, because we walked by and thought, oh, that
Yeah.
sounds really good.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it is kind of a good pull 'em in marketing. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be insensitive to the parking on Ashland. And that doesn't, you know, personally in my business, that doesn't impact me. I like the location. If it has to be on Ashland, I like that it's, I don't know. I'm in favor of it. I think that the more outside seating that we bring to the downtown area, I think it's the vision that we've had planned for it all along. I would hate to tell this young business owner no, if it's part of his vision and could make him even more successful than what he is right now.
My opinion is the parking is a problem and we should not take away 2 more parking spots to somebody that already has 2. So that, and now he has 4, and now we've squeezed everybody in that already really tight corner tighter. And we have the city, state and county employees that just keep parking there. I think that's the problem. Park those people off of the square and let the businesses on the square that count on turnover have parking spots. 8-hour parking people sitting in the courthouse is not good for business. And you're gonna be like, well, we don't wanna make them mad because they won't come out and buy coffee. I think they will come out and buy coffee. I think they will come out and buy lunch because they're there and they need to buy lunch, so
It always
just
turns
take the
in,
parking.
how do you do that?
Mhm.
That's, how does he continue to have a business where people can't park?
No, how do you enforce that?
The city owns a parking spot that's only for the city, like the fenced one that you have. Can't you just buy that one that was behind him and make that the parking spot for the city or the county or the state, the building, the
How,
building?
no, how do you take somebody and say, okay, you cannot park in that space because you are a county employee?
You have a designated parking spot. It's not about you can't park here, you
Right.
park here.
But they are also a citizen, they can park anywhere they want, they have the same freedoms that you have. So you have, whenever you create a law or a rule for that behavior, that law or rule affects everybody.
Mhm.
So if I'm gonna impose that rule on a county employee, then I have to do it on some manner that's non-impactful to the rest of you. By doing that, I will put in something like a 3-hour parking. And then I have to put in enforcement. Well, how do I go out and enforce that? Then I'm gonna have to either hire a police officer that's walking around, or I'm gonna have to have some kind of a control device or a meter. And then suddenly, somebody who wants to come and run into uncommon grounds, and they see a meter there and they're just gonna be in 5 minutes and out 5 minutes, are they really gonna come and program it in and whatnot to be able to get and figure out how to adjust that meter to run in and out in 5 minutes? But you have to enforce it the same for everybody. We've had this discussion over and over again over the last year. Anything we do the cure will likely be more impactful than beneficial. And so we just don't know how to address it without scaring people away from the square. And that's what it will do. I mean, there's some tech savvy people who will, I mean, it's not like the old days where you could put coins in and things like that. There'll be some tech savvy people, but most people will just start avoiding it. And that's gonna have a much more dramatic impact than having someone walk a little ways. I think the long-term solution is for the city to work on trying to find parking spot solutions for us to bring approaches to try to put in a lot to the north, or to work towards working on finding solutions that involve maybe other businesses to the north, like a hardware store or Family Video or whatever, to find better solutions. And when we construct our city hall, to come up with solutions that bring more parking to the square, to solve it in the long term. But in that short term, we just have to work together, because otherwise we're gonna hurt everybody.
And continuing the conversation with the county too.
And-
That's continued throughout, so.
For me, it would take one conversation. Please don't park here. You're here all day long in these businesses. Okay, I'll park over here.
We've had that conversation.
Yeah, conversation happened in at least six.
I get it.
I think maybe the best solution for a little bit of relief would be, once again, maybe getting the citizens involved in saying, open up this parking area behind your building. Security issues on a courthouse with a jail. How many people are breaking into jail? All the other doors are just as susceptible to vandalism or breaking entry.
I would think from their perspective, in fairness to the county and whatnot, they have judges and attorneys who are prosecuting cases, and they are bringing people into court that they're prosecuting against, and those people could go out and vandalize their cars. When I think that's their perspective, ensuring that we provide safety for the judges as they're walking out and getting out.
I'm talking about the hours where the building is virtually closed except for the jail.
Yeah, after hours, I don't have,
Yeah, that point, it just doesn't make sense to me at all.
And I know Ben said it, and I agree with you too. I think that's again, great with the sheriff candidates
That would
and
be a
discussing that stuff and.
Yeah,
the rest of the public.
I missed it last Monday. I forget what I was doing, but I fully intended on questioning those two candidates and
but it's not just the sheriffs either, but I think having the you're gonna have 5 new supervisors, you're gonna have a new or replaced sheriff or,
I know where Stephanie Erickson
all that
stands
kind
on
of
the
thing.
issue.
What's that?
I know where Stephanie Erickson stands on the issue.
So, yeah. Making your voice heard through the election process is very important, no matter who the candidate.
The tough one, I do think patios are good for downtown districts, we see searches on Facebook for patios and restaurants for patios, that sort of thing. But I am sensitive, I think Ashland has been hurt by parking more than any other street that we have. I would be interested in those business owners, if they're concerned, showing up at city council. Voicing their concern.
Well, what I was saying earlier, I wasn't saying leave it up to the business owners to make the decision. I was saying get their opinions on this. I wasn't saying let them make the decision. It's not what I wanted to. But they're the ones who are gonna be most impacted. But I think if that parking area behind the courthouse was open after 5 o'clock, I personally would say, yes, let him have his patio.
How wide are the sidewalks on the south and east side of the building?
East side, I'm just gonna have to measure it here from aerial.
The east parking lots.
Yeah, cause Fanero's used to have picnic tables out there. What if we just encouraged him to utilize the sidewalk with,
Is he aware that he does have the option of putting picnic tables in the sidewalk? And also, I don't know, I haven't walked down there, but how is that sidewalk? Is it like one over on Salem?
it's
or-
level,
Or is it level?
it's level. It doesn't have a slope.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a slope's on that one, but I'm just looking here really quick. It looks like the sidewalks are 12 feet on the south side. And then on the east side, the parking lot side, they're more about 6-7 feet there. There's that parking lot, just being the private parking lot, I know there's some issues with that too. There's a lot of overhang sometimes from vehicles on both sides. It'll pinch that part or that sidewalk down a little bit too, so.
Does the city own that parking lot in front of them? Who owns that?
That's the property owner on that.
Tegra, is it Ben that owns that?
No,
It's, I don't,
somebody new to spot it.
I've met the guy before you put me on the spot. I'm just looking at it's under an LLC called M&T Bin Equipment LLC, but I've got contact for the property owner somewhere. I just don't recall his name. But he just recently purchased it a couple of years ago.
With that 12-foot sidewalk on the south side of the building, you could put 7-foot tables out there, 6-foot picnic tables.
Leave 6 foot, is that the minimum? I don't know.
5 foot's the minimum. 4? Oh,
So we
So
shoot
that
for 5
slant-
feet typically, but 4 feet is ADA, so.
Slant wasn't an issue and he could do that.
Really different ambiance though.
Yeah.
Picnic versus a patio.
I know it is. Maybe if we encouraged him to try that for a year and we really made a pitch to the county about getting those parking lots opened up and get to a more comfortable place with parking.
We can certainly do so, and if the county does make that change, maybe have them reconsider, resubmit or something.
So we're not saying no, we're just gonna table it and coordinate with the count, what's that?
You said table, is it pun intended or no?
Yeah. Table it.
Table it for what, I'm sorry?
Table it and maybe even we try to invite, when the election does happen, we invite the supervisors here and we discuss those parking lots and raise the bar for the bars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're doing that though, I mean, just, obviously the election's not till November, so.
I know, yeah.
I'm there,
And
I
then,
know he wants to get going on this one yet this year, so.
I admit, this feels really funny though, because we've got your patio out there and then we're saying no to somebody else. That just feels
I know,
unequal.
I know. And I'm,
And I mean, I guess from our standpoint, I can just continue to assure from the city standpoint that we will continue to work with the county on the parking issue. I don't think we've ever stopped. It's always been a consistent conversation that we had, and when new leadership is there, because there's obviously, I mean, we know for sure there's the representation from the Indianola side on the board of supervisors will be 2 new people because Aaron's not running again, so it's continuing to have the conversations with those individuals and whoever the sheriff is, if it's the current sheriff or a new sheriff, we'll just continue to have those conversations moving through.
Would it be proper to postpone this and then invite the Ashland businesses to come talk to us?
here's the deal,
We haven't done that yet. We haven't done that with any, I mean, this is similar to what Local Vine is, and I know Local Vine didn't take any parking, but it still took up public space. We didn't do that. We haven't done it with Brick House, so we've never done it with any person renting patio space on sidewalks. And again, I'm just correlating that they're all public spaces. I know some's parking, some sidewalks, so there is a difference there, but
I'm
we
not sure
just
we
not.
care as much about public space as we do about parking.
Yeah, no.
right?
And specifically that corner. Because of all the parking that went across the street for the city, all those big open areas that they drive their trucks through, it's fine, I know we need that, but we took parking away from those businesses.
We could debate this into the ground
Yeah,
too, and the
yeah.
council,
I do
the
see it.
council could say,
Yes or no?
nay,
Yeah.
nay, and that's
I do
final
see
word.
a slight safety issue, but maybe I'm stretching it a little bit, but if someone is coming south on Buxton and they make a right turn, almost immediately, they're faced with a patio. But then again, the patio is in the parking space and not out in the lane, so.
You know, and we haven't dove into this part of the application yet. If this is something that is going to become more frequent of a request. Do we want to be a cookie cutter downtown, or do we want to be, you know, different looks? Because part of me, the part that sits on this board, wants. I'm glad that he's gonna go through Pierce Brothers and he's going to build something safe. But as a business owner, I'm kind of like, I want it to look different than mine. You know, I don't want it to be cookie cutter. I want the patio to be, you know, I talked to him about the shipping containers that people are doing and they're cutting the sides out and it's covered and they're putting them in the parking spots. And then you have this kind of enclosed little fun patio. You know, Local Vine, a misplaced comma, I think got them approved for something that maybe we weren't comfortable with. I thought a dot on the paper made it sound like it was going to be like a black metal structure. And it's wood. And we've talked about this, wood is not a commercial building material. And when we started doing the streetscape and we started doing all of those things, we said, you know, if you're gonna put a bench out, it can't be made of wood, it has to be industrial strength, and we agreed that wood was not part of that. So this is a big turning point of making sure that whatever is placed out there is safe. And a wood structure definitely would not be, which he's not looking at doing. Looks appropriate for the space and is built with the right materials. I mean, we went down that rabbit hole for a long time, Charlie, of what are we willing to let people put out in front of their businesses that matches but doesn't, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, he could go to Kurt tomorrow and Kurt would say, yep, I know exactly how I built those 2 trailers. You pop tires on them and you put a hitch on it and you pull it down the road. I'll give him my bleacher guy that put the flooring in it and boom, if that's what we want, if we want cookie cutter. But like I said, as a business owner, I kind of want individuality.
It makes me, as I think of Oskaloosa, just thinking of our alleys, it's a long-term plan that we not have patios and parking spaces, but we have those alleys all developed. So people can food and drink there, which is equally attractive as downtown district.
Okay, so what's our recommendation to the city council? Where are we at on this? I think we're divided, so what do we do?
Somebody's gotta make a motion one way or the other, and then we will take the recommendation to council. And I mean, again, just from a procedural standpoint, if there's a motion that's made, typically it's best to make a motion in the affirmative, so motion to approve, and then if you want to approve, yes, if you don't, no.
I motion to approve with the proper building material and that it's built with a commercial grade building. Any opposed?
I,
So let me just do a roll, so yes, you're doing it, no. Not recommending approval, so Leslie's yes, Marvin's no, Amanda's yes, Tim's no.
create 2 more parking spots to replace them, I'm a yes.
Okay.
I don't think 4 parking spots for the new business to squeeze down is gonna help.
We'll pass it on to city council.
That was a really good discussion.
Yeah, I know, and
It honestly, it's been bothering me all night because I will no longer own the Groggy Dog probably within 2 weeks, possibly later this week. But
you want success for the next
I want
person.
him to be successful. I don't want him to, no.
I get it. And yeah, the Ashland, the north side of Ashland is cramped. Honestly, I wish it was on Howard.
Right.
We need something on Howard.
It's just that corner.
Yeah,
My whole back.
I know, I wish there would have been that perfect solution for him
Yep. one more time.
straight across from those courthouse stairs, but there wasn't. Once again, we're landlocked, you know, I mean, and it's the beauty and the beast of business in the downtown. Okay, item B, consider event application for Celebrate Warren County Parade.
And just really quick on this one, I think the parade route is very customer to what's been done before on the parade, so I guess if there's any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer it.
Any questions? I get a motion to approve the parade route.
I motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
I
See, that was easy.
It was easy.
All right.
want to discuss this for
Wait.
5 minutes now.
Yeah, all right, any additional comments or can I get a motion? Oh,
Well, really quick, there's
Okay.
2 things that we have. Ben's got one thing, and I want to just point out, we've been knee deep in the Main Street Iowa application, and both Leslie and Amanda have been involved in that in some way, shape, or form as well too, so appreciate it. There's just some information right there. We're still welcoming any pledges that we can get through the process on that as well. So if there's any questions, I'll let you know, but we do intend to submit everything by the end of this week. As we are aware, there is 6 communities in the state that are also applying for this, and they give it away to 2 or 3 each year, so it is a competitive process. We're hoping that we're putting together a very strong application, so.
Thank you
Yeah.
both for all of your work.
Yeah.
Ditto on that, so it's been a team effort, we've obviously been doing a lot too, but it has been a great effort from Leslie, Erica, Amanda. Amanda's one that has helped out quite a bit, so we've had a lot of boots on the ground on this one, so I do appreciate that as well.
It's a good thing. I mean, even for discussions like today, I mean, just to have somebody
Yeah.
that's full-time job is vested eyes on that area. I mean, they will know the pulse and it will alleviate a lot of hours from Charlie's day, Ben's day, Amanda Z's day. Our chamber director will be able to broaden out beyond the downtown area. Okay, any other comments or can I get a motion to adjourn?
I have one more thing, so, we have been working really hard to build better relationships with the county. And there's been a lot of discussion over the last, 2 years, even prior to that, on things like the county's yard moving out to Nevada and what happens to the industrial area over by the grain elevators and behind Hy-Vee. City's Public Works Yard is also out there, but that's a prime location right on the Somerset McVeigh Trail. When we have our connectivity this year through Carlisle to the Des Moines area, what can we do to create a destination for our community? How can we tie the trail into the square across Euclid and into Simpson College and tie it all together? Discussions with the county with regard to things like the West Annex building and the plans to try to make that a retail use instead of a county use, get it onto the tax rolls, create more jobs, more vibrancy, more business on our downtown. What could we do with things like the Masonic Temple and on the Wander in Buxton, better connectivity from the county, from Simpson through county parcels down to the square. The county likewise has been facing its own facility issues of late with regard to how do they expand office space when they're constrained in the county administration building, and they have, of course, the new Justice Center. And so some ideas were presented about 6 months ago that have been worked on and negotiated and ultimately have come up with a new idea and a new concept of trading parcels from the city to the county. Wherein the city was trying to build a library on its existing library site that was very restrictive in the neighborhood setting, and do we create a big building in an area? And yet still wanting to preserve parking and green space in that library area. Well, the library happens to be co-located really closely diagonal kitty corner from the administration building, and it's also a kitty corner from the Justice Center. And so county posed the idea of would the city consider swapping lands? And so we have now put together a plan that the council and the Board of Supervisors approved last night that will really chart out our future going forward, and I think is a really good step towards building better relations with the county. So I'll share a quick video. I won't go into a lot of detail, but I can answer any questions that you have afterwards. We do have a 10 o'clock. I can do that.
Vision of unity, progress, and imagine a city and county united in purpose, bound together by a joint commitment to advance common goals. Visualize a vibrant cultural history centered around getting all the public library. Knowledge, creativity, and community enrichment. Envision a landscape where heritage meets innovation, where opportunities to enhance the quality of life, cultivate economic growth, and better connect our region right in front of us. This is our shared path to move forward. The city of Indianola and Warren County is forging a plan for the future built promise. By reimagining selected city and county owned properties, the city of Indianola 6th Street sub-area plan and airport close to the Indianola downtown square. Our vision represents untapped potential to energize influential change and better support citizens. After extensive brainstorming, we've identified areas of complementary strengths to maximize our own capabilities. Align as one. We will everyone to relocate and serving the anchor for planning water redevelopment along the Bay Somerset Trail. Cultural enrichment, recreational activities. It wasn't connecting surrounding cities to the trail system. And we can have staff relocate to the library's current facility, offering greater ability, efficiency, and ability to perform the services that provide citizens. All centrally located near the administration building and Justice Center. We're just beginning to go on this journey. There's plenty of work to do and many important discussions to be had. But let's remember that our greatest strength lies in the power of our community. Today, we met like Red and Luigi and Carol, unlike each other. And together, we will.
So greater collaboration.
Brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant.
And so great things are happening, because we are still occupying the library. It'll take some time for us to build a library, but doing so by revitalizing a industrial site with zero tax base because it's all government land means that tax increment can really be a funding opportunity for the library and not have a huge burden on the taxpayer. It means we can revitalize a portion of our town that we're not tapping into right along the trail system and create a destination. Once we leave the occupancy of the library, it means the county can relocate its employees into the library, which is kitty corner and off the square. So what's going to happen is the West Annex building, the Masonic Temple, and the 6th Street sub area all become city ownership immediately. And the library becomes ownership of the county immediately, with both leasing back at $0. There's no dollars going back and forth. The library to the city and those other 2 buildings to the county to take care of their staffing needs. Once we have a new library constructed, we'll move out. They can remodel, then they can move out, and then we can get occupancy of the West Annex building and the Masonic Temple and make our plans going forward. And we have charted out a great future for us that's actually identified in a timeline that extends all the way out through 2020. So there's a lot of steps involved and there's a lot of journey along the way. The library board and library staff asked the question, so what about this and how do we get here? And I said, my explanation for this and putting it in library terms is we've just opened up the book. We're gonna take that journey 1 page, 1 chapter at a time. We're gonna do it as a community. But having the unity of purpose is refreshing. And we're so excited about the opportunity for us to leverage this positivity on working on other county and city related issues.
Masonic Temple, that's the south of town, like on the, no.
That's right next to the DMMO, across from the county administration building over by
Mercy's
Simpson.
there right now.
Mercy One, House of Mercy,
Okay.
that big story building.
Just redid it.
Oh, okay. The big
Right.
brick building.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
3-story, yeah.
So the plans out where the new library would be involve commercial, does it involve residential too?
So it's there's 5 acres of county and 1.5 acres of city ground right behind the grain elevators. And revitalizing and making that a walkable community with businesses, with residential, all on the Bay Somerset Trail that ties to the high school, the middle school, the Emerson Elementary, and then putting the trail connectivity in that really ties in Simpson College and the square. So we're talking about a total redevelopment of our downtown area in the future of, it's exciting.
Had some mountain biking trails in there and we've got a destination, Ben.
So look at that, you can,
Yeah.
ending on a positive note, there's a bright
That's
future for the
good.
city can be.
That's good. Awesome.
How's that?
So good. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Yes.